Hey everybody, it's great to see you. I'm Elliot, this is Jackie. It's our pleasure to welcome you to our webinar today, 5 signs that your child is ready for potty training. We're starting right on time here. We're happy to see that so many of you have joined. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to try to keep this webinar short and to the point. We know that you guys have a lot of other things to do. Webinars are like house guests. They're good as long as they only last for a short time. So we're going to jump right into it. A little bit later, we are going to be announcing a special new Kickstarter category. Here's a little hint. We're going to get into that a little bit later, like I said. But let's dive right in. If anybody has any questions that come up while we're talking, just enter them in the chat and we will get to them, because we absolutely do want each one of you to be an active participant in everything that we're doing. All right? So let's get started. The 5 signs that your child is ready for potty training. This is one of the biggest, the most important topics of potty training, and it actually impacts a lot of how the entire process goes. So much so that in our parents guide, which is a part of every child in the pod, the first and, like I said, most important chapter is exactly about when is my child ready for potty training. And we're going to follow some of the guidance that we provided in here to a large extent, actually, to sort of guide our conversation. So the first sign that your child is ready for potty training has to do with age. Actually, the question that we often get, the only question that we'll get is, how old does my toddler need to be to be ready for potty training? And unfortunately, the answer is not one that most people want to hear, which is age is only one small component of it, and there is no magic age. When your child turns 18 months, they're not necessarily ready. When your child turns 24 months, they may or may not be ready. Even beyond that, 26, 28, 30, it's really a child-by-child determination. But what we can tell you is this. At 18 months, your child begins to develop the muscular control, the body control, to be able to potentially potty train. And generally, for most kids, the sweet spot tends to be between 24 and 30 months of age. So if they're in that zone, they're most likely going to be ready for potty training. But again, as we talk through some of the additional signs here, you have to keep those in mind, because age in and of itself is not the only thing that determines whether your child is ready.
Yeah, exactly. And probably more important, the question should be, is when is my child capable of potty training versus what is the right age to start potty training?
Absolutely.
So with that, one of the things that we say to look for is language or communication skills. When your child starts to somehow give you a sign, be it through words or through signs, that they have to go to the bathroom or that they are going to the bathroom, that certainly is a aha moment for you that, okay, that's an indication that they're starting to realize that something is changing. One of the things that we recommend is pick your words and choose them wisely, but use them early and often. Call it pee, call it poop, call it caca, call it whatever you want to call it, but pick your words and help your child realize that pee and poop is what we use, are the 2 words that will help indicate that something's changing, or a sign that, again, they are starting to recognize that they have to go to the bathroom.
Part of the whole thing with communication is that, and Jackie began to touch on this, is it's really important that it remains consistent. So if you refer to poop as poop throughout, and I'm pooping, and do you have to poop, or are you pooping, or whatever it might be, and then all of a sudden you switch and you refer to it as, do you have to go number 2, you're going to confuse your child a lot. So it's not only language is really the second sign of, is your child ready? Can they communicate to you that they need to poop, that they need to pee, et cetera, et cetera. The flip side of that is the language that you use with them, and making sure that you remain consistent in doing so that when it comes time to communicate with them, they're able to understand you and you're able to understand them.
Yes, like anything else with toddlers, repetition and consistency will do wonders.
Absolutely. All right, so far we've gone through 2 signs, and we've gone through them rather quickly. So again, if you have any questions, if you feel like we've left anything out, don't hesitate to jump in. But the first sign was age, and the second sign was language and communication. Now, The third sign is motor skills. Just like crawling and walking, potty training is a milestone that actually includes a good amount of movement. So if for whatever reason your child is unable to necessarily pick themselves up and get to the potty on their own, or also maybe has a hand in being able to pull down their own pants and pull up their own pants after the fact, potty training is going to be more of a challenge. So you want to make sure that from a motor skills standpoint, that your child is advanced enough so that they're able to really engage and do everything that they need to do when it comes to potty training. The assumption normally is that by the time they reach that age of capability, which was the first sign, that their motor skills as well will be right where they need to be. But keep motor skills in mind and motor skills development as the third sign that your child is entering sort of that ready zone for potty training.
Yeah, and it's like anything else, you're going to have to help them along the way. Of course, you're going to have to help them dress or undress as they're going through the process. But again, guiding them through that, but the fact that they can do some of that on their own certainly is a good sign that they're getting closer to the potty, that's for sure.
Absolutely. The fourth sign has to do with social motivation. So this is really when your child begins to take an interest in the potty, not necessarily through what they themselves are doing, but through what they see around them. Now, this can happen in a couple different formats, and I'm sure that we're not telling most of you parents anything new when we say you probably haven't gone to the bathroom in peace in a very, very long time, that your toddler is in there with you, that they're poking around, that they're playing with the toilet paper, that they're maybe asking you what's going on. Maybe they even want to peek inside the toilet with you, which is always just a good time. But them actually taking an interest in and seeing people use the potty around them is actually a very important indicator that your child is again entering that ready zone. They're, instead of watching people or knowing people go to the bathroom but not thinking anything of it, when your child begins to see it, and also another chance that they'll see it is maybe at daycare or when they're around other kids and they sort of see that there are these kids that go to the bathroom and they want to know what's going on over there, they become curious about it. That's another expression of that social motivation. I see it happening, I'm interested, I'm curious. And as parents, we should encourage that, even though, we do enjoy our peace of going to the bathroom on our own. But letting them into the bathroom with us and sort of engaging them, telling them what's going on, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what's going on, and I'm peeing, and I'm pooping, and whatnot. This begins to sort of get these thoughts into your toddler's head that, okay, this is actually something that is real, something that is relevant, something that they're taking note of, obviously, and they're showing an interest in.
Yeah, it's, toddlers learn through example. And so having an open door policy, even when it comes to the bathroom, is really a good thing. Bring them in, talk to them about the process, talk to them about what you're doing and why you're doing it and what's happening. Because, again, topic for a different day, different webinar, but again, going to the bathroom is scary for kids. Again, different topic, but again, helping them understand what's going on is easily done through allowing them into the bathroom. As Elliot and I call it in the Parents Guide, you bond over a bowel movement, but there's something to be said for that. One of the things that we talk about too is, we all go to the bathroom, we all read usually in the bathroom or on our iPhones, and again, it's probably no different for kids. When you're in there, let them read, let them look at a book just like you're doing them. Help them relax, help them know that this is a place where, things happen, but you can relax and let them sort of happen naturally. And certainly the more often they get to see you using the bathroom, talking about flushing, talking about pooping, talking about peeing, let it be just like when you're cooking or when you're making a bed or when you're reading a book, whatever it is, doing your daily activities. Going to the bathroom should be just as natural as putting your shoes on in the morning.
And we actually, what we did with our children's book, which is a great asset in terms of, again, sort of getting them acclimated to the process, getting them interested in the process, is actually just before the webinar, Jackie and I were talking about a particular page in the children's book. But as you can see here, you can actually begin to explain to them that, what going to the bathroom means that food is going into your system and then it runs through your system. It gives you energy, it gives you strength, it gives you all that power to be able to go out and play and have fun. and then it comes out when your body doesn't need it anymore. So we've engaged the children through our book, through the children's book, to be able to begin to not only understand what it is that people do go to the bathroom, but then be able to put it into context. Okay, this is why people go to the bathroom. This is why it's going to be important for me as an individual to go to the bathroom. So that's 4 steps so far. We've gone through age, we've gone through language and communication, we've gone through motor skills, and we've gone through social motivation. Those are 4 of the 5 signs that your child is going to be approaching this ready zone to be able to potty train.
So if you take those and you compile those all into one package, probably the biggest sign is their cognitive development. And that the biggest sign that you're going to see that it's going to start changing in your child is that they're going to start to hide behind your chair, behind the couch, even if they just turn around and have their back to you, especially when they're pooping. That is the sweet spot, the number 1 sign that, hey, something is changing. My toddler is realizing that they're pooping, and they're combining that with the sense of privacy. They have now learned in the last 2 years that you do go into another room, adults go into another room to poop, and that's their way of saying, okay, I'm going to get some privacy and poop on my own. Huge. Again, probably the number 1 thing that you can take from today's webinar is when you see your child start to do that, that we would say is the sweet spot. They also do other things. Some children start to let you know that I peed, I poop, I'm uncomfortable, this doesn't feel good, please change me. They probably won't say it in those words, but they'll certainly come up to you and say, let you know that they want their diaper changed. They'll walk differently. They'll grunt while they're pooping. They will give signs that something is different and they're noticing. Again, that's a time as a parent you need to say, the window of opportunity is open and you should probably strike while the iron's hot. Yeah,
I know that my daughter, she never felt embarrassed. She never went and hid. She was ready to poop out in the open when her, when she still had her diaper on. But it was really that second part of what Jackie said, which is, okay, this is not great. I don't want to be sitting in this diaper anymore. Can you go change me? And so it's the recognition, whether passively by hiding, let's say, or by going somewhere else, that I know what I'm doing is not necessarily something I want to be doing out in the open or something I'm extremely excited about maintaining on me, or that more active, hey, buddy, let's do this. Time to change the diaper. And that, as Jackie said, really is the 5th and possibly the most important sign, because it's when they actually acknowledge to themselves that I'm not excited about continuing to wear this diaper after I'm potty trained, after I've gone pee or I've gone poop. It's uncomfortable for me. That's when they have a real reason to say, okay, let me check out this whole potty thing. Let's take this on, and they'll have all the motivation they need to take that big next step.
And help them out in this process when they start to hide or let you know. Be very careful with the choice of words you use and how you talk to them, because at that point, whether or not you opt to start potty training then, at least use that as your sign that it's time, and start talking to them about your pooping. I'm changing you because you pooped. Keep it plain, keep it simple. But at least that way they can start connecting the dots that, again, something has changed. And again, whether or not you start potty training at that point, at least you can start the process that, okay, your toddler has acknowledged that something's changing, and that you two are acknowledging that by telling them exactly what you've learned. Yes, you're pooping. Keep it plain, keep it simple.
Yeah, just to build off of that, and again, this is just beginning to take it one step further, sort of once you've recognized that, okay, my child is ready. A lot of, unfortunately, the association we have with going to the bathroom is not necessarily the most positive one. It's, oh my gosh, you pooped, or oh my gosh, you have a dirty diaper. So that makes potty training a little bit more challenging, because your child is all of a sudden knows that they're engaging in something that's not necessarily pleasant, that's not necessarily fun, that others don't view in a positive way. And that actually creates an additional impediment to potty training. So one of the things you can do, especially during this period where your child is really beginning to show, hey, I'm ready to be potty trained, is begin to speak about poop in not necessarily, it's not necessarily, doesn't have to be a party every time they poop, but it shouldn't be something negative. It shouldn't be, oh my gosh, you pooped. It should just be, as Jackie said, okay, you pooped, let's go change you. Or when obviously you're ready to potty train, okay, you've pooped, and then you move on from there. To take away the negative association with it will help you as you begin the potty training process. So again, just to run down from the top, age. Kids are generally physically capable as soon as 18 months. The sweet spot tends to be between 24 and 30 months. Language, communicating the need to go to the bathroom and understanding communication from you, about do you need to go to the bathroom? Have you gone to the bathroom, et cetera, et cetera. Number 3, motor skills. Potty training is a full contact sport. They need to be able to get up, get to the bathroom. Ideally, if they can even also begin to help you pull down their pants and take off their underwear, whatever it may be at that time, that's another added bonus. But definitely being able to get themselves to the bathroom and maneuver onto the potty chair, potty seat, whatever it may be. 4th, social motivation. Seeing the potty in context in terms of the people that are around them, their friends, their parents, their siblings maybe. But understanding that the potty is a part of life and actually taking an interest in, what is it that people do when they go sit on the toilet? What is it that they're doing? What's going on? And lastly, cognitive skills. Beginning to show not only that they understand that the potty is a part of life, but beginning to show that they're unhappy with their state of being once they've gone to the bathroom or while they're going to the bathroom. They're either hiding, they're disappearing in some way. I know my mother loves to tell me that when I was a kid, I would disappear. Or they're showing that they're unhappy, once they've gone to the bathroom. They don't want to remain in that diaper. It's uncomfortable for them. They're walking like they just got off a horse, whatever it may be. So those are your 5 signs that they're ready for potty training.
Just to emphasize one more time, if you think about it, and when people say what's the right age, if you really think about it and you put it into the context of when your child is taking the time to tell you, and however they're telling you, that they're uncomfortable, that is the real question, and that's the answer of the proper time to probably think about starting to potty train.
So we have received a couple questions in advance. We definitely encourage everybody to ask any questions that you may have on your mind. I'm about to check my phone to check on our Facebook live stream as well, to try to make sure we integrate questions from there. So please do, if you do have any questions, go ahead, submit those. We're going to answer the couple questions that we've received in advance, get to your questions as well. Before we do, I just want to make one quick announcement. We promised we'd be introducing a new Kickstarter reward category as part of this webinar, which we're going to directly after we complete the webinar here shortly. And I wanted to go ahead and announce that so that you guys know about it first. Illumable, you may have seen them on Kickstarter, you may have seen them on Shark Tank. They're a great company. They're more for the parents than for the kids, but it helps with the kids as well, which is that when you go to the bathroom at night, sometimes you don't want to turn on the lights that can wake the child up, that can wake you up in the middle of the night, and it's very unpleasant, uncomfortable. So Illumable came up with this spectacular product where it senses you walking into the bathroom and it lights up just the toilet bowl. You can sort of see on the picture there, it lights up just inside the toilet bowl, and you can do it with a variety of colors if you want to have your own little party at night going on when you go to the bathroom to pee, or you can just choose one color. And it's a great way to sort of, again, make the bathroom an inviting place for your child if you're waking them up and you're night training them so that they go to the bathroom, or for yourself if you need to get up and go. Illumable is a great tool. So we're going to put up a new reward on the page whereby if you pre-order a Tot on the Pot, you're going to get an Illumable for free. It's going to be a limited reward. We only have 5 to 10 of them available. So if that's something that's of interest to you, be sure to get on it soon. But it's going to be a free Illumable for the first 5 to 10 people that want to order through this special reward category. So you're the first to know about it. You're the first that will be able to take advantage of it. Do you want to get to one of our first questions?
Sure. So beyond the what is my child ready, the biggest question we get from parents is, I'm clueless. How do I even start? How do I know how to start? And the answer to that question, probably the best answer is, if you're asking yourself that question, it's time to, take a deep breath and think about if you believe your child is ready, then you need to realize that you need to be fully on board and 100% engaged in this process, or ready to be engaged. The biggest way to do that is to look at yourself and say, okay, if I think my child's ready, I know the tools that I need. Let's look at my own personal calendar and try to figure out when's going to be a good logical time for me to do this, where I can devote the right time, the right energy, the right attitude to being successful at this. Because again, providing people with the right tools is one thing, but certainly a parent's attitude and willingness to embark on this journey is a really big deal.
One of the things that you'll see from our Parents Guide is that we basically, we speak to, and we built our system around the approach where for 2 or 3 days, your child is going pantsless, and you're really focused on them and focused on changing their association of pee and poop, instead of just going in the diaper, with learning to go in the potty, helping them identify that, helping them get to the potty. So if you have something going on at work that's really stressful, that you're going to be constantly distracted by, or you have family in town, yes, people will sometimes, when they have all sorts of family in town, decide that's the weekend to potty train. And there's so much going on in the house, and there's so many different opinions being thrown about, that the last thing anybody's focused on is potty training. So in addition to the child being ready when you start potty training, you should also be ready. And by you being ready, that really means making sure that you're able to focus on it, that you have a little bit of peace of mind and a little bit of separation from everything going on in the world around you, as well as creating an environment whereby, okay, we can focus on potty training. It isn't Thanksgiving weekend where there's a circus of 20 different people in the house coming in, going out, and the last thing your child's going to want to do is stay, in the house and just focused on the potty.
Yeah, other things, another baby coming into the picture, probably not the ideal time to potty train. A move, again, holidays, try to pick a time where, and again, it sounds a little bit daunting, but again, where you can have 3 or 4 days of just me, you, and the potty to set aside to really focus on it. And it's kind of, if you think about it this way, if you can set aside a few days and really hone in on the potty, it will make the world of difference moving forward. It just really will.
Let's jump in. I want to take a question from Amanda. Amanda, thanks for your question. Amanda writes, let's talk about logistics. Do you take them every 30 minutes and have them sit for 2 minutes each, etc.? So that's a little bit outside the scope of the webinar. We're more focused on identifying when there is a readiness, but we absolutely do want to respond to your question, and we can do so. This is absolutely something we cover again in the Parents Guide, really step by step on how to work this. And Jackie, maybe you can just briefly speak to that. So
one of the biggest things that we talk about once you decide to start potty training is, the old hovering, the hovering parent, is something that we just really tell parents not to do. So when you say every 30 minutes, we kind of suggest that you pay attention to your child's schedule and when they pee and poop, and base it more on that. To bring them, or to offer the bathroom, or suggest to them every 30 minutes, like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Have you thought about going to the bathroom? Or, let's grab your tot and let's go to the bathroom together, and give them an opportunity to think about it or remind them of it. Yes, but to bring them every 30 minutes is, at least in terms of how we suggest to do it, not necessarily suggesting it, yes, but to actually bring them, that's not really what we recommend.
If you think about for 2 days straight, taking them every 30 minutes, you are going to drive yourself crazy. You're going to drive them crazy. And
there's a lot of pressure all of a sudden where a child feels like that's all that life is about. Again, if you can try to make it more part of a natural day or a natural conversation, and just quiet reminders of, hey, you want to go to the potty, and we'll try to use the potty again. Just make it, again, more of a natural thing. The other thing is 2 minutes on the potty. What we recommend is, again, one of the biggest reasons that we've incorporated our top bell into our package is because bringing them to the potty and having something to do. So it's not timing them for 2 minutes and making them sit there for 2 minutes, but it's more a casual, hey, let's talk to the pot. To the pot, let's read to the child. Do things that kind of make it relaxing, natural, comfortable. Again, if after 10 seconds they're ready to get up and they have no interest, you're going to kind of come to heads with your child if you try to force them to stay there.
And we have, again, and I'll just flash this here in front of the screen, but we have in the parents guide, we even have a lot of suggested ways without asking them, because that's one of the biggest mistakes parents can make. Asking them if they have to go to the potty, because the answer will consistently be no.
Yep.
No child is interested in dropping what they're doing. But there are all sorts of interesting and original ways that you cannot ask them, but sort of suggest to them, hey, the potty is over there. And then as they begin to do that, as they begin to associate your positivity, when they do succeed in little bits, maybe not a whole pee, maybe not a whole poop, but if you're able to catch a little bit of a pee and get it in the potty, and you're celebrating, and they get to choose an activity card and a fun activity, and all of a sudden this whole, wait a second, I pee or I poop in the potty, and there is a whole load of activities that I get to do, and I get celebrated and this and that. Once you begin to build that association with them, then all of a sudden you're going to see that you're going to be able to rely on them a lot more to say, hey, I feel like something's going on down here, let's go to the potty, as opposed to 30-minute buzzer just went off, let's go put you on the potty, let's go put you on the potty. At that point, the last thing they're going to want to do is go to the potty. So Amanda, hopefully that answered your question. We did want to get to one other question that we had that was submitted in advance.
Okay, and so this speaks to, my mom says, this comes from April in Tennessee. My mom said potty training me that she potty trained me before I was 18 months old, and she doesn't understand why I'm waiting to start until later. So that's good. Again, the way we look at this is obviously every potty training journey is different and every child is different, and no one knows the child like you do. However, you can, and again, I would never override anyone's mother.
Everybody's mother is always right.
Exactly. But we believe that having the right tools to give you the proper information, so if you know when to start, if you know the signs that you're looking for, if you know what you need to do to be ready, after you listen to all of social media and all of your friends and your parents, then it's really time for you to take all that information, look at the tools that are in front of you, and decide what's best for you and your child.
Absolutely. And just to speak to the whole parent-child dynamic in terms of our parents giving us guidance about when we should be potty training our own children, potty training has really changed a lot over time. I mean, decades ago, they used to say you need to potty train your child as soon as they hit 9 months. And there was a very, very intense potty training regimen that would happen then. And not a particularly comfortable or pleasant one, truthfully. And then over time that changed. Okay, you should be potty training your children at 14 months, at 16 months. The best research, the best experiences that we have today has actually shown that it works better. It happens more naturally if it happens later on, around the times that we're suggesting. So you may have a parent, based on what they knew from 20, 30, 40 years ago, saying, hey, your child's 16 months old, why aren't we getting them on the potty? But that may not necessarily be relevant to how you want to do it, to what feels right, to what may work the best for your child. So absolutely, as we said, your mother is always right. So is your father. And thank them. And yes, definitely express the appreciation for the guidance that they're giving you. It's coming from a good place. But don't necessarily cave into the pressures of everything you see around you. If you start at the time that is right for your child, and at the time that is right for you, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot of success. It's going to be a quick, smooth process, and the negative stigma associated with potty training is not really going to apply to you.
And what's interesting too, because my children are older and I potty train them and they have been successful, but again, every child is different and completely different in everything. And you know that whether it's how they eat or how they go to sleep or whether they nap or breastfeeding. So it's no different for potty training, that no two children are alike, and so you need to treat every situation, what makes sense for you and that child. Again, but it's like anything in life, that if you have the information and if you have the tools, when you put them into action. Again, no one knows your child better than you do.
Most people think that if they potty train earlier on, it means that their child is more capable, that they're definitely going to an Ivy League school, that it's just, it's all smooth rolling from there. We debunk that in the Parents Guide. That is not the case. But yeah, so that's really what it is. I did see one other question on Facebook. I believe it was Brandy asked to confirm that new Illumable Kickstarter reward category will be going live after the webinar. It absolutely will be. We're about to get that going here, so give us just a couple minutes. But we said that we would stick to half an hour. We know your time is valuable. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're at contact@totonthepot.com. We're happy to sort of help you figure out where you stand in the process. If you do have questions that come up, we've been getting amazing feedback on our product from all the moms who have used it, all the dads who have used it. And we definitely think that when you do recognize that it is the time, you're going to be helped out a lot by making sure that you have a tot on the pot by your side. It's going to simplify things for you. It's going to give you what you need, and it's going to give your child everything they need to actually be actively engaged participants. Not you need to sit on the toilet every half an hour, come heck or high water. But here's a reason to be on the potty, and that's a reason they're going to be able to embrace and join in the fun.
Yeah, and like Elliot said, we are super appreciative of all the support that you have given Tot on the Pot. We realize that potty training has many steps, so this is the first of many webinars that we're going to do, trying to cover along the way the entire process.
And so yeah, we'll be sure to keep you in the loop as we plan for more webinars. Any questions? Contact totonthepot.com. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate you being here. Have a great week. Take care.
Thank you.